Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy, back at it again with another Minecraft video, and today we're gonna take a look at my Common App essay. If you're new here, hi, my name's Lordrick, currently a senior in high school, and you can follow me on Instagram at lordrick.velsote. So today's video is a continuation of my stats and extracurriculars video, which is a follow-up to my college decision reaction video. So I highly recommend you guys to check out those videos. I'll leave links to them in the description down below, and I'll also try to put cards to both of those videos in the corner somewhere. Back when I was doing my own college applications, the internet was a super helpful resource to me, between asking people for advice on Reddit and watching videos like these on YouTube. So I figured I'd try to pay it forward by sharing my essays with you guys, in hopes that it could be of help to anyone applying to college in the future. But in this video, I want to focus specifically on my Common App essay, because I applied to a bunch of schools and each of them had several supplemental essays to write. So if I were to try to include all of my essays into one video, it would probably be around an hour long. So to keep things short and sweet, I want to try dividing my essays into separate videos. So let's talk about essays. I want to begin by emphasizing just how important the essays are to your application. In my previous video, I talked about how the numbers of your application aren't going to be the thing that get you into any school, especially when it comes to super competitive schools. It's because the college admissions process as a whole isn't based on objective metrics. It's a super subjective process overall. Because when it comes to especially super competitive schools, the applicant base is going to be very similar in terms of their stats. If college admissions were based on these numbers, then the people who would be getting into these super competitive schools are going to be the people who get perfect scores on the SAT and the ACT and have perfect unweighted GPAs, but that obviously isn't the case. For admissions officers, there isn't really any difference between a 1570 and a 1580. So since the admissions officers aren't trying to differentiate between applicants based on their numbers, then they're going to look to the more subjective parts of their application. In other words, the essays. Because it's really your opportunity to sell yourself to admissions officers and stand out from all of the other applicants. And if you can't successfully do that, then admissions officers don't really have a reason to take you over any other applicant. Arpi Park has a really great video where he goes more into this aspect of likability when it comes to college admissions. So I really suggest you guys check that video out. I'll leave a link in the description and try to put a card in the corner somewhere. I think it's a little bit different for your supplemental essays, but when it comes to your Common App essay, you shouldn't treat it as an extension of your resume where you can just regurgitate more statistics about yourself. The way that I approached the Common App essay when I was going through the process myself is that I treated it as the place where I could lay the foundations for the theme that I was trying to present to admissions officers that I developed throughout the rest of my application. What you're trying to do basically is show your personality to your admissions officers. So in that way, it's less about what you write than how you write about it, because any topic is going to be worth writing about as long as you can execute it well. So on Common App, there are a number of different prompts that you can choose from, but since all of them have the end goal of just trying to show that you're able to grow through your experiences basically, I don't think that the specific prompt you choose matters too much. Something that a lot of people I know did is that they wrote their essays first and then found whichever prompt fits it best. So there's a number of different ways you can go about it, and as long as it accomplishes the same end goal, it doesn't matter too much. So for my prompt, I chose discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of personal growth and a new understanding of yourself or others. And before I start reading my essay, I feel like it goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Don't plagiarize my essay, or anyone's essays for that matter, because especially when it comes to college applications, if admissions officers catch that you're copying someone else's essay, you're gonna get into a lot of serious trouble. So just write your own essay, please. And with that out of the way, let's begin. What you want to do today? Anything is fine, I replied without much thought. You always say, anything is fine. The normally jolly Con seemed annoyed. Tell me what you want. I think of you as my brother. For most of my life, I've been confined by the limits of my small school and the stereotypes that are inexorable when traveling through middle and high school in such a tiny class. Lordrick is smart. Lordrick is motivated. But since everyone always spoke for him, Lordrick had no voice. In the summer after my junior year, I was awarded a fully funded State Department scholarship to study abroad in Jeonju, South Korea for 7 weeks through the National Language Security Initiative for Youth. As part of this program, I'd live with a host family that would serve as my homestay and guide in Korea. I traveled to Jeonju with 19 other high schoolers from across America to study Korean language and culture. My host brother, Kon, spoke broken English. I spoke no Korean at the time. He didn't know me, yet he wanted to do everything together. To him, I was not the Salem Academy Lordrick. He didn't have the same expectations for me as did everyone else, and that's exactly why he could see into me like no one else could. He did not want me to be anything but myself. The first few weeks in Korea, I definitely had fun, but I still felt like the Salem Academy Lordrick. I went to school and worked hard and made friends and ate with my host family. By any standard, I was a great exchange student, but Kon knew better. "Let's go karaoke," he announced one night. I was in my room doing homework. "Let's go karaoke." I said I had a test coming up and needed to study. "Let's go karaoke." We went to karaoke. Despite struggling to read the Korean lyrics on screen and singing completely off key, I felt no reservations. By all accounts, it was bad, but it didn't matter. I didn't have to be perfect. I could just be me. After this, Kon was committed to bringing out this new, uninhibited Lordrick. One Saturday morning, he asked me, "What you want to do today?" "Anything is fine." "You always say, anything is fine. Tell me what you want. I think of you as my brother." So I told him, I wanted to go to Seoul, so we went. I wanted to eat the spiciest ramen known to man, so we ate. I wanted to make my own decisions, so I did. It may sound silly, but making decisions about how I'd spend my time was liberating. I wasn't scheduling my course load or prioritizing a to-do list before finals, but in many ways, it was more important. My decisions, unmotivated by maintaining others' expectations of me, fueled an identity and a voice independent of the brand people had created for me. The Korea Lordrick was open-minded and honest with himself. He said what he thought and did what he wanted, even if it wasn't what people expected from him. The opportunity to study in the heart of East Asia helped him learn about a foreign culture and language, but it also helped him learn about himself. Then there is just Lordrick. I love learning, and that is an integral part of who I am, but to be entirely honest, I'm still figuring out the rest of who I am, who I want to be. I've always been identified by my grades, test scores, and awards, but now I'm ready to build upon that identity through my own decisions. Korea Lordrick and Kon changed that. They taught me how to live for myself. I decide who I am, not anyone else. Turns out, it took learning a new language to finally find my voice. And that was my whole Common App essay. As a little bit of background to my essay, I chose to write about my trip to Korea last summer with Nisley Y, and specifically about my experiences with my host brother and the relationship we had, and how that impacted me back then, and how it is still impacting me to this very day. So when it comes to the theme of my essay, my focus was on trying to find my own voice and learning how to live for myself, independent of other people. So I divided my essay into 3 parts basically, with a beginning, middle, and end. So in the beginning, you have the Salem Academy Lordrick, who doesn't have his own voice and whose decisions are fueled by expectations of other people. And in the middle, you have Korea Lordrick, who does have his own voice and makes decisions for himself. And then at the end, you have just Lordrick, who takes on the experiences of both the Salem Academy Lordrick and Korea Lordrick in order to help him craft his own identity. And that was my Common App essay in a nutshell. To be honest, I was kind of worried about whether or not it was a strong enough essay, especially after I got deferred from Harvard Early Action, but it ended up working out in the end because, got into some pretty good schools. And I'd like to close off by giving some advice to anyone who's going through the college application process in the future. First, try to start your essay writing process as early as possible. For me, I started writing my first drafts in the second semester of my junior year. And ultimately, the idea that I ended up settling on was about my experiences that happened the summer after my junior year. But I think it was still really good practice for me with my early drafts to sort of try to figure out how to even go about writing my Common App essay in the first place. I also think it would be a really good idea to set up a schedule for how you're going to work on the essay. Because for me, I had a super rough idea for my essay that never really got fleshed out until a couple of days before Harvard's early action deadline. But some people would say that writing your essay so close to the deadline and under so much pressure helps you forget about a lot of other things. And so when you're writing your Common App essay that's due on November 1st, on October 31st, then you lose a lot of the reservations that you would have had, and you end up revealing a more true and authentic version of yourself in that essay. I'm not advising that anyone do this because it was super stressful, but it did work for me. But I really recommend that you guys try to figure out a schedule for how you want to go about writing the essay, because I think in the long run it's going to really help reduce the amount of stress you have going into college apps. And for editors, I would say that 2 to 3 editors at most would be sufficient. Anything more than that would start to be detrimental to your essay. And once you finish writing your essay, or when you think you're done writing your essay, I would think it would be good to read your essay to a third party that wasn't involved in the writing process at all, because they're gonna come in with an outside perspective and a fresh mind. So when you read your essay to them, you can ask them what they took away from it, because if they can understand what you were trying to convey, then the admissions officers most likely will also be able to understand what you were trying to convey. Because at the end of the day, the purpose of your essays is to articulate to the admissions officers why they should let you into their institution. And that's just a little bit of advice. 그리고 콘형, 이 영상 보고 있으면 모든 것에 감사합니다. If you guys have any more questions or if you just want to connect, feel free to DM me on Instagram at lordrick.fulsote. And don't forget to like and subscribe for some more awesome college-related content. For the next few videos, I want to read some of my supplemental essays from certain colleges, so leave a comment down below about which college you want me to read my essays from. And that's all for today, folks, so I'll see you next time. Bye!